Within this whole landscape, there's a lot of talk about, omni-channel businesses and people trying to leverage it. But how can retailers take it to the next level?
The first thing about omni-channel, and we've stopped calling it omni-channel, mostly because in the first iteration, many retailers are really seeing omni-channel as, well, let's launch as many channels as we can so that we have so many, even more touch points and options for consumers. We've really seen retailers move away from that concept and move towards unified commerce, which is really around having channels, but all tied to a single source of truth, which is the consumer and the experiences and the shopping and the data that comes from it. So being able to tie all the data that comes in the shopping data that the singular consumer shops when they shop across the channel, that's the most important part. Because there's very few consumers that are going to one channel, just going to a store or going to online or going to an app. Most consumers now are really engaging with the brand across all the channels. And the retailers that have taken it to the next level really understand this and trying to take all the data points that they can collect about the shoppers and their past purchases across all the channels, and then potentially offer loyalty programs or upselling and offer different experiences. We see so many more experiences, unified commerce experiences here in Singapore now.
Right. Could you possibly share an example of a retailer who has successfully leveraged unified commerce in that sense?
One of my favorite examples is Love Bonito here in Singapore. If you go to their stores are absolutely gorgeous. But take for example, they have an experience called the endless aisle. When you go on into the store and you don't find the particular size or the color of a particular item that you want, you can go to an iPad, a kiosk, order the goods online, and walk away with a purchase, but not even have to carry it home because it's coming to your home delivered in a few days.
Oh, great. That's so much easier. For me as a female shopper, having to carry so many shopping bags, it's like, it's not fun. It's like doing exercise at home, but that's a great idea, actually. Now, what are the key trends that you've observed over the course of the pandemic?
The trends that are coming out of the pandemic and attributed to the pandemic itself is really just the step function increase in the number of people going to e-commerce. And that's very obvious because of when the stores are shut down. But having said that, the macro trends are all things that we were seeing the last few years. And what the pandemic did was really accelerate this. And it's all tied around digitization. The first one is really going to cashless. Here in Singapore, you see so many payment methods, cashless payment methods, of course, the credit cards, the debit cards. But what you see now, if you go to get a boba tea, for example, you have so many different QR code payments, not just from innovative tech companies, but also by Nets, which is the local debit scheme. So you have so many different players trying to introduce digital payments now because handling cash is something that's so unwanted these days.
Right. Well, aside from these, do you think there are any long-term trends that are already put into motion before the pandemic?
So cashless, that rise of the super apps, a lot of the big discussions in region are now around the buy now, pay later methods. And of course, when you see that the consumers now have a lot of choices going both online to shop when the stores are open and now being habituated using non-cash payment methods online or even just going online. And it's not just about retail, right? People are some people are now going on to online banking for the first time. So consumers are really engaging all services online. And if you think about some of the most extreme examples when digital payments were first introduced at hawker centers. And I think you can't get more traditional than this. Hawker centers are selling their food online through delivery platforms as well. So I think everybody has really shifted towards digitization. And I think consumers are the first ones to really adopt, enforce that because they really have so many choices now. They'll go to the ones where the services or the retailers or the restaurants that offer, of course, what they perceive to be the best value and the quality, but also convenience. They have so many choices now. And that really means for retailers, they have to really raise the bar on what kind of shopping experiences they offer.
Right. What are the elements should businesses consider when it comes to the Southeast Asian digital consumer?
It's all around providing the best user experience. It has to be seamless. Offering 20 different payment methods is not really the end goal in itself. It should be around providing the best experience so that the consumer has the most frictionless experience. The ones that do so across the multiple channels, across their unified commerce experiences, I think are the ones that are going to win out.
Great. What has been the most significant takeaway Ayden has observed during this period?
It's amazing to see the resilience and the adaptability of everybody here. It's so incredible to see just all the digitization that's happening. I always joke around that if I can live off food delivery and e-commerce for the last 6 months, I could probably do this forever. There's just so many things. But even going into a retail store, when I go to a retail store now, the stores are lovely, right? It's not going away, and it's a big part of my shopping experience. If there's a long line in some of the retailers, I may just open the app and just order the items on the spot through the app and just have it delivered home in a few days. And I think there's just so many ways that consumers can shop and engage with a brand now. And it's fundamentally changed how consumers interact with retailers here.
Great. It's not only just a matter of convenience, it's more of also just interacting with consumers, like, with the brands, and having a sense of dialogue altogether. That's really interesting. Thank you so much, Warren. That's been very insightful.